are watching Channel Adrian TV.
Yo, YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, X. Welcome to another sports reaction video, and this deals with the NBA playoffs. Last night, the San Antonio Spurs ended the series with the Minnesota Timberwolves, and Anthony Edwards did something that you don't really see. I don't think it's ever been done in NBA playoffs, especially at the time he did it. With 8 minutes on the clock, he went to the other bench to dap them up. And Ant-Man was asked about this in the press conference. And then they asked former NBA players, Blake Griffin, Dirk Nowitzki, and Udonis Haslem, how do they feel about that? And I'll give you my thoughts.
I think you went down to the Spurs bench with 8 minutes to go in the game. Like, what was kind of the thought process to do it in the middle of the game there rather than kind of waiting for the end?
I mean, at that point, you know you ain't going back in, so you're just trying to get them the respect they deserve. So, yeah.
With how they handled you guys, like, how much work do you guys have to do going forward here to catch up in the Western Conference and
to catch up
and to contend again?
And so last year in the West Finals, you said OKC was kind of like on a string defensively. San Antonio looked like they had a lot of that look in this series as well. What do you guys have to do, you as leader, whatever, in the regular season to make it where you guys can be like that on the defensive end against some of this top competition?
We just got to listen to the coaches. Yeah. We got a hard time of, like, processing stuff and going out there and doing it. We try to do stuff on our own. I think that's our problem.
Do you feel like the regular season's the time to start building that stuff?
Yeah, I feel like you're supposed to build championship habits or playoff habits in the regular season. Yeah, great question. I think so, yeah.
And that's crazy because he's a team leader. So, well, and I know someone's going to say just because you're the best player on the team doesn't mean you're the leader. And I get that, but I would say majority of people on the team would consider him one of the team leaders or captains of the team. So that got to come from him. And then what he said earlier about giving them respect because he's knowing that he's not going back in the game. In my personal opinion, why not wait till after the game to do that? Unless he immediately went to the back, which I don't think he did. I think he just sat on the bench, if I'm not mistaken.
All right, so we're going to unpack some of the things that Ant said there, but here is the moment where he said he was just giving them the respect they deserve. 8 minutes were left in the...
And see, that's crazy. He's actually in their huddle. And I know I was never good enough to make the NBA, but if that was me and I was his teammate, I would be upset.
Game, your reactions to this moment.
I've watched the NBA and been a part of it for a long, long time. I've never seen this. A guy walking into the huddle with 8 minutes to go in the fourth quarter and dapping up the entire team. Too much for me. Obviously, you can do that after the game and show plenty of respect. That was a little strange for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. I've never seen that before. I mean, I do like what he said, that he wants to give him respect, but I think you wait and you have to take your licks at the end of the game like everybody else. I do want to say, I mean, he was definitely hobbled. Minnesota definitely hobbled. With DiVincenzo out, Io didn't look like he was full strength either, and they played hard. It was a valiant effort, but it was. I mean, he was right. San Antonio was just a better team.
Yeah. Now, you had a reaction there to what he said at the end about needing to build a team that has championship habits, playoff habits. I didn't get to hear the question he was asked, but what were you thinking when you heard that?
Well, you would think that they would have that by now. You would think that they would have that. They've been to the Western Conference Finals. You would think over the years that they built that. I understand. I think this is Julius Randle's second year, but you would think that a team that has been there, they would have those habits.
And him talking about Julius Randle didn't have a good series. So if the Minnesota Timberwolves was to try to improve, it would be that position. And remember, they traded away Cat for Julius Randle because they figured Julius Randle would be better. But if you look, Karl Anthony Towns is well on his way to the NBA Finals, where as far as the Timberwolves, they're out of the playoffs again. Now, of course, they did have injuries, as Blake Griffin talked about. But in my personal opinion, Cat is a better player than Julius Randle at this point in his career.
So the fact that they don't have those habits are very disappointing to me. Because once you get here, and I say this all the time, the playoffs has a way of revealing what's inside you. And I didn't like what I saw from some of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Ant was definitely hobbled. DiVincenzo was out. But some of the things I saw I didn't like. And what I will say is great as Ant is as a basketball player, there's still some growth for him as well. Because as a leader, I would not have walked down there and shook their hand. I would not have walked down there and shook their hand with 8 minutes left in the game. As a leader of my troops and my guys, I would not show that weakness. The game is not over. I got 8 minutes left. I still got smoke coming out of my ears, so I'm so damn mad we losing. Let me calm down for those 8 minutes since I'm not in, and then after those 8 minutes, I'll go down there and I'll congratulate them and their coaching staff. But in the middle of the game, when I got guys that have sat the bench and cheered me on, no, I'm going to sit there and cheer those guys on. I'm going to put that energy back into those guys, and then when the game's over, I'll go over there and shake their hands. So that's just the way I handle things. I'm a little bit different. I'm a little bit old school. I understand there's a different generation, but I don't think if they were beating San Antonio, Wemby would have went down there and shook his hand with 8 minutes left. I don't think so. I damn sure know Wemby wouldn't have went down there and shook his
That's true.
I don't even know if that's old school.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I agree. That's not old school. It's just the way he's putting it. He put it in both ways, as far as a competitor, then as far as a great teammate. Now, number one, you should be upset to where you don't even want to shake their hand. But of course, being a good sportsman, you wanted to shake their hand at the end of the game. And then number two, what he said about giving that same energy to those guys, because you got to think about it. A lot of those guys that ride the bench in the NBA, they never really get an opportunity. And some of them are two-way players. In other words, they'll be there or be in the G League. In other words, they're still trying to find their footing in the league. So what Udonis Haslem is saying, why not give them that same support and same energy that when I'm starting or playing 30 or 40 minutes a night, they're giving me? And I completely agree with that. And then Ant-Man doing that kind of shows me he could do whatever he wants with Minnesota. Because I guarantee you, if he was with Udonis Haslem play with the Miami Heat, Pat Riley wouldn't let that slide. In my personal opinion.
yeah, so
That's just cool.
yeah, so for me, I love Ant-Man as a basketball player. I love where he's going to be as a basketball player, but as a leader, the next few steps he needs to make are little small details and things like that, because other people on your team and those guys are always watching you and they're following you whether you know it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I watched that press conference, and obviously I am not in Ant's head. I don't know what he was thinking, but you feel like you could sense a little bit of frustration a bit. Just
Anytime you hear a player say, "That's not my decision,"
yeah.
he's saying somebody got to make some moves. Do your job. Anytime you hear a player say, "That's not my decision," he basically saying, "Y'all do your job up there."
Yeah, I mean, Steve, what do you want the Timberwolves to take from how this postseason went?
I think it's important to not overreact, because I actually think they did phenomenally well. They handled Denver, okay? They lost DiVincenzo. The Sumo has been hurt most this second round, and Ant's been hobbled. So for them to get to 6 games against a phenomenal team, like, let's not throw everything out here. Let's not overreact. Now, habits, were we 100% happy with those? Okay, we can improve there. Can we improve the roster? Absolutely. But you also have to look at it. This is a Western Conference that's getting to becoming a 2-horse race.
Yes.
Right? Like 2 extremely talented, deep teams with futures and assets and all sorts of, growth capital and potential. So,
and then also, because he's obviously talking about the Spurs and OKC, but how great they are defensively and how a lot of their guards and forwards, they can guard bigger men. They could switch. A lot of teams, especially if you run the smaller guard rotation, teams can't switch like that on the fly because it'll be easy mismatches. That's why I do think the Spurs can beat OKC. But I'm going to leave the original video link in the description. Now, y'all, how do y'all feel about Anthony Edwards doing that and dapping up the other team? Me personally, like I said, I know I was never good enough to make the NBA, but if I was playing, say if I was playing high school, college, and I saw a teammate do that, I would be upset at him. And another thing that can cause is that could cause friction within the team, because let's just say I'm playing my friend in a game and I'm joking around with him, and then Anthony Edwards comes to me and said, "Hey, why are you joking around? This is competition." I'll bring up, bro, you just dapped up a team with 8 minutes left. And you see what I mean? You see that could cause confrontation and conflict. So I'm interested to know, how do y'all feel about it? Oh yeah, y'all, and before I end the video, if you're still watching, I'm still going to do the Nike Air Max 1 Griffey shoe freshwater reaction sneaker review. I just finished all the footage. I won't drop the video probably till Monday because my schedule is hectic, but this video is coming soon. So y'all, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.